major turf war. But it's not gang related. It's not really even, I guess it's over land. I mean, it is a turf war. We have a battle between tennis courts and pickleball courts happening right here. I'm not kidding. That's the new battle. Pickleball or tennis courts. What's your chosen major turf war? But it's not gang related. It's not really even, I guess it's over land. I mean, it is a turf war. We have a battle between tennis courts and pickleball courts happening right here. I'm not kidding. That's the new battle. Pickleball or tennis courts. What's your chosen side? Travis Dale in for Lou Penrose. There is a turf war happening here in San Diego, and it is a turf war maybe unlike you've ever seen. In fact, it's between the tennis players and the pickleball players. Now, if you're not familiar with pickleball, we're going to bring you up to speed. Joining us on right now with Lou is Stefan Boylan from Pickleball San Diego. Stefan, how are you today?
Very good. Thank you for having us today.
Absolutely. So now tell me, let's just, I guess, bring everybody up to speed. What exactly is pickleball? Because, I know it's been around for a while, and I think I kind of have an idea. I have never played it, but it looks fun. It kind of looks like a smaller version of tennis. Am I way off on that?
You're close. It's really, I would say, a combination, I like to say, of tennis and ping pong. It's a smaller court. It's about 1/4 the size of a full tennis court, so it's smaller. It's an exciting game. It's fun. It's social. It's very easy to learn. Much easier to learn, for instance, than tennis. That's why so many people love it. And it's the fastest growing sport in America. And maybe the key point is, with every outdoor sport in America the last 2 years growing because of the pandemic, what's most important is how much did these sports grow in the previous decade before the pandemic. Pickleball has grown 4,000%, where, for instance, tennis has declined by 6%.
Wow. Now, but because it's easy to pick up, it's easy to learn, that's probably why, like you said, it's so quickly growing. And right now in San Diego, I see this headline pop up in the Union Tribune: turf war heating up between tennis and pickleball in San Diego. And I'm definitely intrigued here. I want to know why the tennis players and the pickleball players are feuding over turf. What is going on? Why is there a feud over a tennis court and a pickleball court?
Well, most of us, I must say, I think actually like and even love each other. Mike and I, my partner, are serious USTA tennis players, former USTA tennis players playing tournaments and so forth. And most people play both sports. Probably somewhere between 50 and 70% of all players play both sports. The problem in San Diego in particular is we have 550 dedicated permanent tennis courts and 0 dedicated permanent pickleball courts.
Wow.
Our solution is simply to repurpose 1 to 2% of those public tennis courts into pickleball. Zero city funding. So we would pay for the whole thing.
Zero city funding. You guys want to go out there now? Is it just a matter of putting some more stripes on the pickleball court? Because when I look at it, it looks like you can fit like 4 pickleball courts on 1 tennis court.
That's correct. Generally speaking, you can fit 4 pickleball courts on 1 tennis court. Pickleball is almost exclusively doubles, where tennis is kind of, 50-50 between singles and doubles. So you can have 8 times more people on the same square footage of space, satisfying a much greater proportion of the public than you could just keeping the tennis courts the way they are. And the problem with keeping the tennis courts the way they are is we've done a lot of research, 56 different parks here in San Diego, and the most underutilized tennis facilities, the public tennis facilities in San Diego, are in Ocean Beach. There's 51 courts all within a 4-mile radius of each other, and on average, only 25% of those courts are being utilized at any given time. Even during their peak hours, they're only using about half of their courts. So if they would consolidate just 1 to 2% of their 550 total courts, we could have pickleball make its entryway into San Diego for the first time.
Stephen Boylan from Pickleball SD. What's the problem? Why are the tennis players getting angry that you would like to go restripe it on your own dime? Not taxpayer dollars.
It's not restripe it. It's resurface the courts.
Oh, resurface.
Repurposing the courts, so they won't be able to use those particular courts that we repurpose.
Ah, gotcha.
So they want all the possible courts they can have, and the city has a bias towards the status quo. The city does not have a process in place to compete for these public permits that, and it's kind of ridiculous. Everyone should have a right to compete for and see if they could offer something better to the public. So there's a lot of opposition to what the city does want to do. The city wants us to spend millions of dollars to lay more cement at public parks. But the problem is a lot of different city officials, environmentalists, people from all over the spectrum do not want more cement jungles at our public parks. The process would likely take 5 to 10 years.
Oh, wow.
And we'd likely get shot down when they realize that we're not using the existing cement that we have very efficiently to begin with. Why put more in if you're not using the existing cement put in?
Right. Yeah, there's not people out on the court anyways. Why don't you just make those two pickleball courts, and then you can have the rest stay tennis.
That's right. And tennis keeps coming back to the same point over and over again. Yes, between 5 and 7 p.m. every evening, the courts are generally busy. Well, what about between 6 a.m. and 4 p.m. every day? There are no courts being used, and only half the courts are being used in the evening. So again, in Ocean Beach, at least, not everywhere in San Diego, but in Ocean Beach, in this area of the city, it really makes sense to use our space more efficiently. That's what this all really boils down to, using finite space at our public parks to satisfy more people.
This doesn't seem like it's really that difficult for me to process. I mean, I get it. Okay, the tennis players, they want all their tennis courts between 5 and 7 p.m., but if there's less of them, I guess the tennis courts are now busy from 5 to 8 p.m.? Is that
I would say from 5 to 7 p.m. We have aerial footage of all the courts on every hour of the day, every day of the week, and we have the court logs that the tennis clubs refuse to release their court utilization logs. Again, the people that are most against this are the very people that work at the club that we're going after, and some of the other tennis leaders in the area that view this, that if we get one club, we might get more clubs, which is not true. We just want one place to allow pickleball to make its entry. One place to call our own, to set up the way we want, to satisfy thousands of local residents that want to play.
Now, Stephen Boylan, you said you have aerial footage. You went and busted out a drone and went and took pictures of this, right?
Well, actually, someone else busted out the drone, and we obtained that footage.
That's so great.
Because we were called liars at some of the meetings.
Oh my gosh!
They said you're lying. You're creating I'll quote them, a false narrative to the public. And we're not. And all we're asking for is, hey, clubs, we've been asking this for the last year and a half, release your on-court utilization logs so we don't have to do this. Some dedicated people that wanted to show what was truly happening at the courts busted out, like you said, and some aerial footage. We obtained it. We analyzed the data. We have over 200 hours, and we have over 6 weeks' worth of court logs from the actual club itself, from members that have shared the court logs with us.
I love the fact that you guys went and dug down and got the data to bring this, forward to try to make some change here. But what has to happen? What is the ultimate goal? Or not, I guess the ultimate goal is to make pickleball courts, but what has to happen to make this happen? How do our listeners help here?
The city has kind of known about this for the last 5 years and hasn't done anything about it. Sometimes it's easier just to keep the status quo, right? Until someone really speaks up loudly about it. We've been working with the city for the last year and a half on this, and we just went public on this in January and made it the front page of the San Diego Tribune, then wrote a whole big front page article about the shortage of courts. The city has a process in place that is arcane and is very difficult. It's stacked against change. It's not personal against myself and Mike. Some people say that. That's not true. It's stacked against change. And as you guys know, as most people know, change is sometimes necessary. Right now, because of what's happening with the city, and that the city hasn't kind of gotten on top of this, there is an investigation by the city attorney into both the Parks Department and the Peninsula Tennis Club for taking what we estimate to be several $100,000 a year under the table, paid in cash, directly from players to the instructors teaching there, outside of the permit of the Peninsula. And one other important point to note also is the Peninsula Tennis Club has not had a valid active permit since 2018. So they are technically, you could say, they are trespassing on city property. And still the city says to us, and this is why this is important, that the Peninsula is in good standing, and that's why our permit request will not be seriously considered.
Wow.
Well, the Peninsula is collecting all this money under the table in cash to their instructors. Outside of their permit, outside of their expired permit, because there is no permit for the property, they're running a business on property that's not permitted on a public park, making money off it basically as a for-profit. They always claim, hey, we're a non-for-profit. We do all these great things. 90% of the money that's coming in there, we estimate, is not being accounted for under the not-for-profit. They claim they're only bringing in $40,000 a year on their IRS 990 tax form. You can look this up. Anybody could look this up. This is not privileged information. And we estimate something closer to around $500,000 or $600,000 a year is coming for lessons and clinics. And that's why they're fighting so hard. I mean, I get it. They're trying to protect their income. What they have, this great deal where they're getting paid cash to teach lessons and clinics. But it's not fair to the public. And with so many empty courts, both at the Peninsula Club and the other three surrounding clubs, we're contending that they can consolidate one of the clubs, not all four, and still have three clubs in this area, still have 540 tennis courts in San Diego instead of 550. And pickleball, we could have 36 courts. We could satisfy 1,000 people a day playing pickleball here in San Diego.
I feel like
that's exactly what would happen if we're successful.
I feel like I'm team pickleball here. I don't see why you can't just make some courts pickleball. And I'm a tennis guy, but I'm all about it. I do also like to hear.
I watched the French Open for 2 weeks. I watched Nadal play Djokovic. I love tennis. We looked at Balboa Tennis Club in Balboa Park, and that place is using 90% of their courts on average. We have no intentions whatsoever of upsetting tennis people because we're tennis people.
Right.
If people are using the courts, that's great. Let them keep using it. But this is ridiculous. People are basically using these couple of clubs in Ocean Beach as a private country club.
Stephen Boylan,
families, and not filling the clubs.
Stephen Boylan,
making a profit on it that's not reported under the not-for-profit expired permit.
The shady underbelly of the San Diego
one thing
tennis.
is happening also, we pointed out to the city, and they still haven't acted upon this, although they said they're investigating it, is according to these permits, they're supposed to release their budget and their books, their records of how much money is coming in for lessons, of how much money is coming in for court usage. And the city has told us they don't think that that's been done for the last several years. So what's going on here? It's either incompetence or negligence. I don't know which you choose. But come on, we have a better answer here. And we'd like to work with the city as an honest partner to really satisfy more of the public.
I'm up against a break,
it's about
Stephen.
Transparency as much as anything else.
Right. I'm up against a break, but is there a website people can go to learn more about pickleball?
Yes, they can go to Pickleball and then the dash sign.
Okay.
SD.com.
Pickleball-SD.com. Easy enough. Stephen Boylan from Pickleball SD. Appreciate you being on with us today. And good luck out there on the courts.
Thank you very much. We're happy to come back again if you'd like us.
Absolutely. There you go. The turf wars, like I said, heating up. And I had no idea that the underworld of tennis was so shady. I'm just kidding. No, it is. Come on, because let's make some pickleball courts, right? It's not that crazy, not that hard. We got to talk about Father's Day.